Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. Big victory for ASU tonight, winning 48-7. ASU dominated from start to finish, and it all started on the first drive when they got, yes, Jesse, their first turnover of the season on the pick six.
Yeah, it was awesome to see that from the start for Arizona State. Last year, I believe it took them till their fourth game to get a turnover at all.
Good.
And this was the second play the defense was on the field this year. So exactly what you want if you're Arizona State there. And then they come back on the next drive, that Wyoming's next possession, and then they get another interception. So back-to-back turnovers to open it up. And, from that point, I was like, ASU went down and got a field goal on that drive, became 10-0. From that point, I was like, okay, I think this might get ugly for Wyoming. From the second possession for Wyoming on, I was like, okay, Arizona State might take it to them, which I did not expect in this game.
Svoboda just was not good in this game today for Wyoming. I don't know where he was throwing the ball most of the time, and if he did run the ball, he was actually kind of okay at that, but he really just didn't have any time in the pocket, which is something that ASU has needed to do, was get pressure on the quarterback. But first, Damon, let's get to what was your biggest takeaway from today's victory for ASU?
My takeaway is that this is about what I was expecting. I think that the way the linebackers talked in the postgame about how these are interceptions that they've had in practice, and it's no surprise to Sam either. Sam Levitt was talking about how this is something that they've been harping on throughout the entire fall practice and all the way back in spring. And all the time between that is this is a defense that has really been swarming to the ball in practice, and now we're starting to see it in games, which is really just a wonderful translation to see.
Yeah, for me, if you want to know my biggest takeaway from this game,
how many people touched the ball? How many people ran?
How many people got carries?
Yes, 9.
One.
9.
I think it was 10 actually. I think it was now 10 because Keona Pete touched the ball as a
big one.
As a running back for a play. 49 carries on the ground, 249 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground. They absolutely wore down the Wyoming defense. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This is exactly what I thought they could do with running the ball. They showed how deep they are. No running back had more than 11 carries, but they carried the ball 49 times, which is crazy. Cam Scadaboo played really well. You had Kyson Brown playing well.
Shout out Jason Brown.
Jason Brown came in at the end and played well. DeCarlos Brooks really impressed me. He scored the first touchdown, offensive touchdown of the game. Just overall, exactly what I want them to do this season. I mean, obviously, if they're down in some games, they're going to have to throw more. But 22 pass attempts, 49 rushing attempts, perfect, exactly what this team needs to do on
the dang ball.
Yes, exactly. Just made me so happy.
I know this is kind of like prisoner of the moment, but I've been saying that these linebackers are studs all summer, and they came to play in those first 2 possessions, the pick six, and then Kashawn Elliott with the pick as well. He was wearing the green dot today. What are your takeaways from how the linebackers played today, Damon?
I mean, it's hard not to look at the overall game plan and not think that there might be something fishy happening. Well, not like actually fishy, but in terms of just on those interceptions, it looked like the defense knew exactly what was coming. And those are plays that they've scouted. The scout team has been great throughout the week in terms of getting this team ready, as you can see by the 48-7 score. I mean, that doesn't happen without a great game plan.
Also would like to add real quick, 11 people carried the ball today. 11 people carried the ball.
Cyrus Fiasu was the one who got the game started with the pick six on the second play of today's game, or tonight's game, I should say. Kenny Dillingham, after the game, was talking about just bringing in both Elliott and Fiasu this offseason, and he said, I didn't really care about their tape. I was just happy that there were 2 captains on 2 pretty good Mountain West schools. And, I mean, we brought them in, and they're studs, and it's exciting to see the defense actually show up. The run defense was good. The pass defense was spectacular. I mean, I didn't even notice the corners today because I just think that they were in blanket coverage the entire
they
game.
didn't have to do much. They weren't forced into many situations. The defensive backs TBD on that because we don't think this quarterback for Wyoming was very good. Svoboda. There we go.
They're also missing their best running back.
They are missing their best running back. But, yeah, I mean, this team won 9 games last year in the Mountain West, which is a pretty good conference.
They took Texas to the fourth quarter tied.
They
beat Texas Tech.
And it's not the same team, different
17
coach.
17 starters.
17 returners.
Yeah, 17 returners. That is something to take away. And ASU smacked them. It wasn't a game at all. At any point of the game. It started off with ASU just taking over, and they went basically end to end, except for the last touchdown that was scored with 2 seconds left. They went end to end, just dominating this game. Pretty much all 3 facets of the game. There were a couple plays here and there on offense that I would have liked to see improved. Couple plays on special teams. Couple missed field goals. They got to be able to make 38-yard field goals. That we've seen the distance problem for this team over and over and over again throughout the years. So that needs to get better. Also didn't like the fact that a punt went to the end zone for a touchback.
Kenny said that was his fault.
Yeah. So there's some things that need to be fixed. Again, Sam Levitt would like to see him connect on some of those deep balls.
Well, let's go to that right now, Jesse.
Yeah, we should talk about his performance.
Let's go
debut.
to we'll go back. We're going to go a little bit out of order on this show sheet that we made. I want to go to Sam Levitt now because I thought he was good.
Yeah. I thought he was really good, honestly.
Really good. You think he was really good?
Really good.
I thought he was good.
Not great, really good.
I thought he was good.
I'm really good. Really good.
Tell me.
So I think part of it, too, is the way he was moving his legs and how he was poised in the pocket. That's another thing Kenny was talking about a lot is Sam is a redshirt freshman playing in his first start tonight, and he is not looking like it at all. I mean, some of the touchdown to Shimon Mateer, where he's stepping up to avoid pressure and throwing while he's on the move in the process of avoiding that pressure, and then still connects the pass and it goes for a touchdown. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. And the 48, I think, or so yards he had on the ground, we asked Kenny about the sliding. Kenny said Sam is not a good slider, and so they just don't bother with it. He thinks it would be a disservice to have Sam try to slide when he's not good at it. And, I mean, Sam has the linebacker and safety DNA, so you get that he wants to take some hits. He wants to play football.
Yeah, I think that Sam should figure out how to slide. I'm sorry, you've got to figure out how to slide if you're a quarterback. It's never worked out where a quarterback that doesn't really know how to slide
doesn't get hurt.
So, yes, he needs to figure out how to slide in some way. If it's the way that Kenny talked about where he dives earlier forward and then gets touched like that, then I guess I'm okay with that. But I would really like to see Kenny call up Willie Bloomquist or something and get him working on those real, and I'm being serious about this, working on those real baseball slides kind of work, because that's quarterback's got to stay healthy. And as far as his play, though, I do, other than the sliding, there was a couple of those deep passes that were missed. But other than that, I mean, he completed 64% of his passes, no interceptions. He hit his receivers accurately. He wasn't, most of his throws were right on the money. I don't have an issue with how he played, other than, again, the 2 missed deep throws and not protecting himself more. I think that ASU's got something in Sam Levitt, more than we've seen out of other quarterbacks in their debuts. I think we've seen, Jaden Rashada last year was not this good in his debut. I don't remember Jaden Daniels' debut that much, but I don't think he was this good. So as far as a debut as a starting quarterback for Arizona State, this is up there. So I think that they've got something here. Couple things I would tweak, but again, redshirt freshman, thought it was really good.
I thought he was good. I didn't think he was great. I think there were some missed throws. Obviously, the throw to Tyson in the third quarter, probably would like to have that one back. I just think that there are some plays that I would like him to see go through his reads more. And again, redshirt freshman, you guys both brought that up. redshirt freshman. It's gonna take some time for him to get used to not only playing on this stage, but also playing at Arizona State. He's got to learn more about Kenny Dillingham's offense, what he wants him to do. And Kenny, brought up the fact that he was going out there and being able to read the defense in terms of like what the personnel group is and knowing what play to run. And I like that a lot. I like to have a quarterback that is smart, that knows what defense is there and what play is going to work best, Damon.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny talked about how Sam is so young. He could play potentially 4 years here at Arizona State. And that's something that Kenny seemed really excited about. We've heard the Bo Nix comparison from Kenny. I think that a lot of what we saw tonight from Sam in terms of staying on schedule with the offense and not making mistakes, I think that a lot of it can develop into what Bo Nix is.
What did you think about the crowd tonight, Jesse?
Crowd was great. Really good. There's a D-backs Dodgers game tonight in downtown Phoenix.
There was about the same amount of people here as
there
were at that game.
That game's huge, given where those two teams are in the standings. And
are we turning into the D-backs podcast?
No.
I'm listen to Ain't No Thing with Alex Leonard.
Yeah, no, we're not turning into the D-backs podcast, but that's a massive game if anybody follows Arizona sports and knows about that rivalry and everything. But there were still 48,000 people here, over 48,000 people here.
Student section.
Yes.
Student section.
Student section was great.
Second best student section since 2010.
Yeah, and, I do think that a lot of it had to do with potentially what Graham Rossini did and this department did. We drove up to the parking garage. Obviously, we were media members, so we didn't have to pay for it. But we saw the prices, and it was $20 to park today instead of $40, which is great. They had the half-price waters in here as well, and then they had the specialty item, the brat, which I tried, and it was good. It tasted like a brat. Whatever sauce they had on it was good. But still stuff
Would Jeremy have liked it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
More elk or more brat?
Like how it tasted?
In terms of just the balance.
It tastes like a brat. I don't really it didn't really taste much different than a normal brat. But still, it's a cool thing to try. It's something that brings in people that's not just the game. There's outside elements of today's experience that were better than in past years. So I got to give kudos to that. And the students stayed longer than they usually do for a game like this, especially given the score. It was 27-0 at halftime.
Yep.
And the students, a lot of them stayed until mid-third quarter. Now, they should probably stay the full game and celebrate the win, but I'm less angry about it if it's a blowout like this. And so, pretty good overall fan turnout, and thought it was pretty hype pregame. Stomped the bus, everything, and then it filled in quite nicely. Definitely a ton more ASU fans than Wyoming fans.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, now that takes me to my next take. Next week, show up.
Yeah,
big one.
There's got to be a sellout.
There's going to be a lot of Mississippi State fans here. The Cowbells will ascend upon Tempe next week. Are you upset about the Cowbells?
My ears.
Oh, man. It's going to be a tough week for Damon's ears. But we will survive. You will be here, right? You will be here?
I will be here.
Okay. That's all I need to know. ASU, Mississippi State, next week for all the marbles.
Yeah, for all the marbles in the second game.
One team is 2-0, and the other team is 1-1.
Repeat yourself. The microphone was not in your face.
One team will be 2-0, and the other team will be 1-1.
I also predicted that they would win this game. Now, the SEC is good.
Are they? ASU
never beaten an SEC team.
Yeah, ASU's never beaten an SEC team, and
thank you, Doug Tamaro, for that stat.
And we saw today probably the biggest upset in college football today was the last place SEC team winning in their construction site of a stadium, Vanderbilt.
Rip.
Yeah, SEC is no joke. We'll preview this more, but SEC is no joke, top to bottom. ASU fans shouldn't take this one lightly. They should show up to this game next week.
We will be there. You will be there. And it's going to be a fun game. Now, last thing before we go, we want to send our thoughts to Ricky Pearsall, we're glad he is stable in San Francisco, it sounds like, and hope he will be able to get back on the field for next week's game for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, good kid. I interviewed him when he was here at Arizona State.
Local, too.
Yeah, local kid as well. Yep. I hope all the best there. Hope it's not too serious with the situation that happened up there. It's really sad to hear about that. Again, hope he's okay and can still live out his dream and what he's worked so hard for.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils, a post-game edition. You can find us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils. You can also watch a lot of these podcasts on the Arizona Sports YouTube page. Arizona State wins this one 48-7 for Damon Allred and Jesse Morrison. I'm Jeremy Schnell. We'll talk to you next week.